And yeah, welcome everyone. And we're going to have a few more coming in late, I think. And there's a Terry here. Welcome, Terry. And yeah, hi, Kate. Oh, she's eating her dinner. So welcome to the first session of the healing field. And how this next hour and a half is going to go is I'm going to just give you a brief introduction for what this is, how it came about, and good of the whole and the connection field. Then I'm going to just introduce myself, have you guys introduce yourselves, and then we're going to talk about the why, the how, and the what of the healing field moving forward as healers and other practitioners. So with that, I'm going to read the introduction because I want to make sure that I get everything in here. And so I'm going to do that. So the connection field is the initiative where the healing field is falling under. There's a bunch of beautiful offerings every night of the week and incredible space that we're holding during the day. And so I'm going to read this to you. The connection field is an ever-expanding field of love and resonance, a loving, inclusive space to expand in heart resonance, embodied wholeness, and meaningful connection. It's an online community of coherence for the good of the whole.
Please enter the conference ID followed by the pound key.
There, I'm going to mute Terry, which she should have had the conference ID, so I don't know what's happening there. The connection field is a global service project initiated by our community of mentoring stewards at Good of the Whole to provide support and connection during these unprecedented times of COVID-19. We are live each day on Zoom from noon to 5 Eastern. And then, like I mentioned, there's some special programming in the evening, and this is one of them. Good of the Whole's vision is a world where every individual feels valued, connected, and whole. Our mission is to nurture, well, first to cultivate the ethos of wholeness, and then nurture our innate capacity to live for the good of the whole. We're a resource hub for global coherence and the conscious transition toward whole systems health and a whole worldview. We prepare, support, and amplify individuals, groups, organizations, and initiatives that live for the good of the whole. So, welcome. My name is Julie Kroll, and I'm your host this evening. And I'll just tell you a little bit about me. I wear a lot of different hats. I am primarily a consciousness coach or a mentor, teacher, and speaker. I've been a healer for over 30 years, 33 years actually, as a psychotherapist, soul care practitioner, and an intuitive healer and Reiki master. I'm an author and a talk show host and the co-founder of Good of the Whole with Shelley Darling, who's there, Shelley, as the other co-founder. And we have some other mentoring stewards here tonight, which is nice. So I'm going to invite you to introduce yourself. And we extended this primarily for healers and different practitioners of any kind, coaches, wellness coaches, and we're all into the healing capacity. And yet, if you're here just to receive healing, that's okay too. There'll be some of that as we move into tonight. We're going to do a brief introduction, and then we're going to come into an attunement and then jump in. So thank you. Most of you are on mute. I'll invite you to mute yourself when you're not talking. But why don't you jump in and just introduce yourself and a little bit about what attracted you here, and if you're a healer, what kind of healing practice you might have. So anyone, jump on in.
Okay. I'm Michelle Malin. I'm an intuitive healer, Reiki master, psychic medium. Modalities, I've taken bits of things from all different modalities, and I just use whatever seems right or I get guided to use at the time.
Beautiful. Thank you, Michelle.
Julie, maybe people could say where they are because it's really nice
Oh.
because there's so many people around.
That would be lovely. Where are you
I'm
from,
from Red
Michelle?
Island, Nebraska.
Yay! Yay! Okay.
Well, Kate, this is Kate here in South Dakota. I can bring myself in quickly while if I don't have kale dripping out of me. A little just finishing the dinner. So I just found these beautiful, I'm lucky enough to have looked into the eyes of all but 2 people on the field here. So Michelle and Terry, I look forward to that day. And, you know, I just feel such a wonderful resonance and connection when I'm with Julie and Shelley. I've just kind of loved everything about them. I find it interesting that I told the grandmothers about the call. We actually, one of our gals has COVID, the gal in Germany has COVID, the whole family. So beautiful gal did a despacho ceremony, a gift to the gods ceremony, and we kind of did a universal, and she will probably be burning it about the time this happens. And so I mentioned that, and we're all still sending our prayers into that most beautiful despacho that got created today. But the thing I find it interesting is the grandmother that did show up, I heard white lions briefly mentioned earlier today. And there's so many things about this lady, but I know that's one of them. So with that, I'll just say I look forward to getting to know you more, because how we heal, or how I heal, I feel like I'm kind of an earth healer too. And it's through this frequency. And I think, you know, that whole global smile that Barbara always talked about, when so many people enrapture the same thing at the same time, I just hold on to that brilliance and hope I'm there in that moment. With that, I'll thank you for listening and pass it on.
Thanks, Kate. And welcome, Ken. We are introducing ourselves, where you're from, and if you're a healer, what kind of healer you are, and what attracted you to the session this evening.
Okay, I'll go on the camera for now, but I want to listen, but I got some things to attend to. I'm Ken Furlick from Germantown, Maryland. What kind of healer? Well, I'll tell you a little story. When I was 21, I was involved with some small groups, intimate groups, and we would pray over people, and it was more from a religious setting. And people started to come up to me and said I was a healer. And it's like, yeah, right. And then they came up again and said, yeah, right. And I says, and then I moved and I went to another group, and the same thing started to happen. So I says, I'm out of here. I'm not taking on the church or the medical authorities with this. So I walked away from it for 20 years. And it came back in a strange way 20 years later. So I possess healing abilities, but I don't, what I would say, let me change my glasses, the glare. I'll be honest with you, I don't look to heal people in the sense that that I would want an identity as a healer, because it's like, well, then I got to create sick people to heal, to have my identity. And it's more like, I'd rather work to create with people and have them create a place of healing for themselves. So the healing comes from within, and it's not looking to me to heal. It's like, create the space for them to heal. And that's really how my work unfolded from the creativity standpoint, was getting people to create a mindset that allows them to heal. So when it comes to my particular healing abilities, it's getting people into their own power. And that's where my focus is. And I will apologize because I'm going to turn off the video. I want to listen. I want to hear what's going on. Why am I here tonight? One reason is to get an idea of how the format works, because Naheed and I are supposed to do something tomorrow. And now that I had to confess about my own background on healing, I can't leave. I got to see what everybody says. To be honest with you, I've never been comfortable, quote, as a healer. I just haven't been. It's more like, you know, so I will listen and probably learn a lot. So with that, I'm going to blank the mute or blank the video because I got some things to tend to. I just came in from outside. It's spring here and it's coming in very quickly and I got to take care of stuff. So I'm listening and I'll be here.
You're in the right place, and perhaps you're a planetary healer now, and because I know that about you. And we're going to talk about how to create the conditions for healing to come forward. So you're in the right place, Ken. Thanks.
Okay.
Who wants to go next?
I would go on. Well, I would say that I am a lover. I can say evolutionary mystic and a scientist. But they came in the kind of reverse order. First I became scientist, then I knew I'm a mystic, then I became the lover. I choose to go after it because of the work that Ken and I we have done for 22 years together. Is I carry the same concept, principles, part of the creative process. I see myself more as an educator. It seems that's my nature. That's who I've been from the beginning. Since I've been a teenager, I've been teaching. First, the science of the mind as a scientist, and then just wisdom of the heart. So the education aspect and the work of healing, for me, healing comes from healing the heart. So it is actually through the healing the emotional body, or in a way that impulse of the creation that is, we call it life, is within us, to what you just repeated, Julie, create a condition for it to blossom. So, and I'm here because I always have learned being here, and I couldn't find any more transparent than this, my creation partner, Ken. And he said, well, you should learn how to do this format, you know. So that's what I mean. Bless you. And thank you, I'm complete now.
This is Diane. I'm in Florida. I was a massage therapist for many years and also have a master's in transpersonal psychology, mostly studying in psychosynthesis. Used to do a lot of group work and personal work. At this point, I don't do any of that professionally, although I feel like the gift I have to give mostly is connecting people internationally, networking, and doing cheerleading for particularly young people around the world who are facing whatever's going on for them. And I'm just interested in what's going on. I know the heart math work, and I'm supposedly getting a PhD in wisdom studies through Ubiquity University, although I keep putting it off and looking for the next next thing. And we're going to be putting on a big collaboration summit kind of thing in the next several months. So it's good to know what other people are doing and make those connections, because clearly, to me, the world, this is wake up call number 4072, which not everybody in the US seems to be getting. But I think that it's time for the people of the world to come together and decide that we're really in unity rather than fighting over whatever it is that we think we need to be fighting over. So that's kind of what I support in my life mostly. Oh, thank you.
Beautiful, Diane. Thank you.
I'll jump in, but I just want, Diane, were you at Chartres last summer? I can't, with the ubiquity?
Yes.
I know. I looked at your name. I'm going like, wait a minute. I know her. I was there with you.
I've actually been there for the last 14 years, more or less. So it's a big deal. We're not going this year, but
I remember. I remember you. Okay, cool. I saw your name. I'm like, I know that woman.
me too.
Perfect. So I'm Shelley Darling, and I am just mentoring steward for Good of the Whole and initiator, connector for Good of the Whole and this connection field. I just think everyone is a healer when they step into the heart, when they step into their own passion. But my particular modalities have evolved over the years, from macrobiotic cook to all kinds of different things, children's design rooms. But over the past years, I've done 12 years of emotional integration work, teaching and training. But my focus point has been dowsing, evolutionary dowsing, and really working with the land and homes to create the conditions for an environment where when you shift the frequency, it creates a quickening for people to actually step into their dream, their passion, their purpose. And so working a lot with frequency and vibration. And here with Good of the Whole, as far as a healer, I just feel that there's nothing that heals someone more than the medicine of wholeness and heart resonance. So I'm really, my love and passion is creating an environment to experience directly the intelligence of this unified field. And it's my love. And really that's why I'm here, because I love Julie, and, I'm just very enthusiastic about the connection field and what it's bringing everyone forth in their fullest expression. So I'm here to support that. So thank you.
Thank you, Shell.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Karen in Costa Rica. My journey with this has started actually in Florida, so it's interesting to see the Florida people. When spirits painted me into a corner so that I had to go onto the healing table at Unity of Vero Beach, where all kinds of things started happening. Later, they shared with me that the moment I walked in, they knew I was on a healer's path. I prefer to think of myself as a facilitator, but over the years, it started at Unity, where at that time they had a whole healers program and training us. I learned to do energy work and be able to feel the energy. And then that went on to Reiki. And then to some of these overlapped. There's Reiki, there's sound energy dynamics. All of the Body Talk modulars up through the year of 2005, I think. And then I did step away from the association, but I still work with do Body Talk sessions all the time. I had the great privilege of studying Qigong with Grandmaster Fu, who was the Grandmaster and lineage holder of the Erme tradition, which is a healing tradition. And I didn't know all this at the time. I was just guided to go do it. So I did, and it's amazing. And I've taken herb classes and studied many, many, many things for health and well-being. So, and this is, I consider this is my ministry, doing healing work. So that's a short version. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. That included Mindscape and Advanced Mindscape and other classes. So
Beautiful. Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much. Okay, welcome, Noreen. We are just doing introductions of what brought you here, and if you are a healer, what kind of healer, and if not, that's okay. And Terry. So we have Terry and Noreen left. Hopefully one of them will jump in. No?
Hi. Sorry, my connection is really unstable. I'm up in the Himalayas and I can't use video and I can barely stay connected at all.
Okay, Terry. Well, we can hear you, so you sound good. If you want to do a brief introduction, we'll hopefully be able to see your video next week if you come back, or when you come back. Do you want to say anything more about yourself? Where are you from? I thought I heard her say. What'd you hear, Shelley? Did you guys hear?
I thought you said like the Himalayas or something.
No, it's like Malise or Himalayas somewhere. Oh, we dropped her. And Noreen, do you want to jump in here?
Hi there. Hold on, I'm gonna open up my video.
Oh, good.
Hi.
Yay.
My name's Noreen Otnefs. I'm from Juneau, Alaska, and what brought me here was the connection to offer prayers for our Earth as a whole. And what keeps me coming back is that, and Kate Roberts has invited me to join the Heart Connection, and I'm very excited. I've lived my whole life in Alaska. I was born in Prince Rupert, British Columbia, and I was raised in Ketchikan, Alaska. And I will introduce myself traditionally. Hade Duksa, Dakuedi Hudsatin, Nishkanation Ayahat, Zantakihini Ayahat. I carry two Nishka names. One is Labidada, which means migrating killer whale, which is my great-grandmother's name that I carry. And the other name that I carry is Akich Jim, and that means dream of song, and I was gifted that name at a Kuik in Wrangell, Alaska. I don't believe, I believe that traditional healing does a lot through nature, and I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to pretend to be. All I know is that when I do my traditional healing, that I can feel things happen in the universe and on the earth and within myself and other people. And so I love that, and I do it often. I also do traditional ceremony in Wyoming with my sister and her husband, who is a roadman. and or who was a roadman. He's deceased now, and then I do a lot of traditional healing here. Initially, I went into the career of subsistence or chemical dependency, teaching people how to get back to their roots and learn how to change their lives in a healthy way using traditional healing.
Mm. Thank you, Noreen. That was beautiful. Yeah. I love all the different modalities and personalities and everything we have present. So thank you all for that. We're going to do a little attunement here then and bring us into that heart space, bring us into the healing field. And then I'm going to just share with you some new ways of looking at healing and what's coming forward, looking literally toward the future. So let's just take a few breaths, just noticing your breath. It doesn't have to be a deep breath, but let's all settle in wherever you are. Most of you are really good at this. All of you probably, I would say, without a doubt. Just get comfortable in your chair. Take some breaths. Become aware of your breath. Just the gentle motion of your breath. Just bringing your awareness to the breath. And bringing your awareness into the heart space. Just tapping into that powerful electromagnetic field around the heart. Really feel we have such a powerful field already. It makes me dizzy right now. I don't know if you can feel that. Feel the expansion of your heart field into our collective field here together. And as you're aware of the heart field expanding, be sure to ground that. And as we continue to bring our awareness and our breath into that expansive field, allow that movement, that resonance to move freely. And imagine that we are bathing the planet with our heart resonance this evening. I only say imagine because it's a way for us to bring form and structure to what we truly are doing. So as we bathe the planet, we're sitting in this beautiful healing field ourselves. And with the next series of breaths, just invite more light into your physical form. Invite light into every cell of your being. Higher vibrational frequency. Really feel your cells waking up and showing up. And with that light, again, we send that out around the planet. Toward one another. And not that there's any separation, but in this moment, invite more love. Invite more love to emanate from your cells, from your being, moving out with the light. So in this moment, we're expanding this field, this unified field of love and resonance. And we're just aware of expanding and sending out. And now, open yourself to receive. Sometimes this is difficult, but it doesn't have to be. It's just vulnerable. It's just authentic and raw and vulnerable. Allow yourself to truly receive back as we are all sending love, light, in a higher vibrational frequency. We're attuning to the field. So whether you experience this as personal or impersonal, allow yourself to receive. And as we're all tuning into these higher frequencies, notice the coherence in the field. And just gently notice with your sending and receiving, is it one fluid motion? Is it the same circles and cycles and spirals of reciprocity that come and go like waves? Is it a stop-start where you're mind gets in the way and you have to readjust, just notice what it's like to be a sender and a receiver all at the same time. This is part of our work moving forward. Going forward on the planet with the evolution of consciousness, we become these transceivers. There's no separation. That as we receive, we give. As we give, we receive. There's no separation. We just attune to a higher vibrational frequency and allow everything in the field around us to attune to that frequency. So be that. And I want you to notice in this attunement that we didn't have to ask for something outside of ourselves to create this field. If you want to, you can invite in the masters or celestials or whoever that might be that you choose. But notice the level of resonance of just being who we are, sitting in our own divinity and being this transceiver, transmitting and receiving. Notice how that feels. We're not calling in light through our chakras, coming through our crown, going to the earth, going through our body. We're moving past the ways we understood healing from separation consciousness into unity consciousness. So, like it's already mentioned, we're creating the conditions for healing to come forward. And so we invite our minds to come along with the soul. We invite our emotions to come along with the soul. We invite our body to harmonize and balance in this moment. We're sitting in very personal, local healing, as well as global. As well as cosmic. I also want you to just be aware of your body in this moment, that we're moving beyond the blissful, amazing experiences from meditation or other non-ordinary states of consciousness, and we're inviting the embodiment now. the full embodiment of these higher vibrational frequencies of love and light fully into the body with no separation. And we're inviting the stabilization of that. That we don't achieve this in meditation or times and together when we create resonance and we remember the unified field, but that we fully embody this in our daily lives, harmonizing and balancing and attuning. And just notice in this attunement that we're not creating the field. The field is always there. We're attuning to the field and remembering. So along with that remembrance, we're remembering our wholeness. We're remembering the experience of wholeness. And even those places within the physical body or the mental body or the emotional body that are a little sluggish or need a boost, when we come into this field of awareness, we're inviting all of us to attune to that frequency. Every cell of our being. It's like taking a bath in this beautiful, resonant field, this amazing healing field. We're immersed. So gently bring your awareness back to your breath and begin to move, wiggle your physical body, and do it in a new kind of way of where you're inviting that embodiment to really stay in this frequency as you gently create soft eyes, come back into the space together. Taking a few more nice breaths. Looking at that beautiful light shining on Nahid. Must be sunset, almost sunset time. Yeah. So I'm going to share a lot about this field, and I'm going to, my clock went off, and I'm going to talk, but first I want to just check in and see if you could do this in just a couple sentences, just very briefly, what that experience was like for you. So just unmute yourself and share a couple sentences of what that was like for you.
Quite awesome. I felt like I was passing light back and forth, and I knew where everyone lived except for Terry. It was just fun.
Welcome, Linda, by the way. I saw you come in.
I was feeling when I opened up to receive after giving it all on so many levels. When I started receiving, it was when I was starting feeling the flow. It's like there is that vibrancy in the field. There is a movement. Everything is moving, is vibrating. Not before that. Not before that. And I see that I really didn't have this skill at all in my life. So yes, we are moving that way to become totally empty of oneself. So thank you for that.
Anyone else want to jump in?
Yeah, I like to offer the word refreshing. And when people were sharing, I shut off the video because I wanted to eat. I didn't eat all day. And I made some notes, and the thing that flashed through my mind was redefining healing and what it means to be a healer. Before you even, I missed the introduction. I came in late, and that flashed through my mind based upon what different people, how they describe themselves. And to me, what you did, the meditation, was very refreshing in terms of where things need to go. And refreshing is the only word I can really define it. I mean, it's like a breath of fresh air of whatever. So.
Thank you, Ken.
For me, it was very gentle and relaxing and almost putting me out into a sleep zone. So I appreciated it. Thank you.
Doreen.
In the midst of it, I came up out of the ocean and I was at my favorite spot, floating on my back. And when I do traditional Tlingit dip, when I float on my back is when I totally surrender to everything around me. And so that's what it felt like for me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I just felt the energy keep building and building. And actually on the resonance calls, I do something similar where I see all our hearts connecting and I breathe in the love from everyone and I breathe out my love to everybody. And so it felt a lot the same as that. And there were moments when I too really get deep, and like Michelle said, it's almost puts me into a different place. And there were moments when I felt a pull forward. I mean, I had to stop myself, and then I'd come back, and then I'd feel a pull forward. And so it was a very powerful. But this is a place that I try to live in as much as possible. So that tingly, vibrating feeling is kind of normal a lot of the time.
Yeah. Thank you, Karen. Thank you.
That was lovely. the give and the take, the giving and the receiving was simultaneous. There was no pause. It was one. And as the meditation was moving on, this sense of wholeness was so profound. And then something came in about, is there any place that you're stuck mentally or emotionally or spiritually or physically? And then I thought, there's all those different pieces again. So I love that feeling of wholeness where I was not even aware of a separate emotional, spiritual, physical body. Lovely. Thank you.
I enjoyed feeling the connectedness with everyone, and also the connected with the earth. And even I think I went a little bit further than the earth. But it was just very, very nice. Very enjoyable. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I don't know if Shelley's still here. Let's give her a second, Shell. If not, we'll just keep moving. So a lot of that process, and welcome, Linda. Glad you could join us. A lot of that process are some of the lessons that we're going to integrate over the next 4 weeks into this space to really help us look at the future of healing. Just like Ken said, is that we're going to even redefine healing, and healing and health will look totally different. So I'm looking forward to just bringing some of these concepts in and kind of gently, so we can integrate and absorb, so that we can like really understand this viscerally of what's happening. And I have way too many notes and too much to do in one night. So we're not even going to get through lesson 1 here, I know, but I just wanted to bring in a few things that coming into the healing field, why the healing field? And I was on a call with someone, and we were talking about the coronavirus and COVID-19. And practitioners can't see clients anymore. And there's this social distancing thing, or the shelter at home, or the literal quarantine. And even our traditional medical model is not seeing a lot of patients right now. And so we were talking about that process of what that's like to be a healer. And the first thing that came up is, we need to give healers a new way to practice during this time. So that was one thing, like, most practitioners can't see clients right now. A lot of us do online work, but how do we literally move in that evolutionary leap as healers to move beyond our one-on-one, to beyond our modalities, and to come into being future fit right now? Future fit as a healer. What does that really look like? How do we upgrade our practice? How do we upgrade, even if we don't have a practice, how do we leap into action as planetary healers? And this is really important. So we're going to kind of weave through that over the next couple of weeks. And some of the other whys is that it is time to evolve our practice. And part of that is that our healing modalities, no matter where we're coming in, no matter if we're a chiropractor or an intuitive healer or a Reiki practitioner, or I work with herbs, I work with nutrition, it doesn't matter where you come in, massage, it doesn't matter what those modalities are. All of them now need to attune to where we're going with consciousness and the evolution of consciousness. So if we look at how things were decades ago or prior to 2012, and coming into 2020 here, is that oftentimes our healing modalities vibrationally matched where our clients were. So a lot of times, if our consciousness was here, we would need a modality that matched that vibrational frequency. And so you would see that the difference between medical model and a psychic healer are very different. And the consciousness that shows up in a doctor's office is very different than someone who's seeing a psychic healer. So I'm not saying that there's a hierarchy here, because we have to get out of that mindset of hierarchy, but it's the best way to show that we're doing that resonant match, that vibrational frequency of creating coherence and resonance with our modalities. And now, as we move into the evolution of consciousness and whole systems health for ourselves and the planet, and understanding how to live for the good of the whole, we're literally going to come into this place, just like our meditation, and invite clients to be that, the manager of their own health. And we're creating the conditions for that healing in a way that's way more whole. So when I say that, we're beyond holistic health. Okay? There's no more, there is going to be for a while, holistic health. But the idea that mind, body, spirit is a modality of holistic health still keeps us in a consciousness of separation. Still keeps us in this place where, oh, we have the mind, and then we have the spirit, and we have the body, and they all need different things, but we need to integrate things that make us treat all these separate parts, just like Linda mentioned in that meditation that we had. So we're moving beyond that so that we're holding the field of the whole, and we're attuning to wholeness in a whole new way. And all those modalities will have different parts to play in the journey for our clients. And yet we're going to literally evolve our health so that our health is the health of the planet. And the planet's health is my health. And so the health of the water is my health. And the health of the soil is my health. And the health of my neighbor is my health. And so I don't know if you're getting that picture as I'm saying that, but literally we're moving into whole systems health, that my whole system, if you want to talk about the separate parts like we used to, there's the soul, and there's the emotional body, and there's the mental body, and there's the physical body, and all the energy that we've learned is still really valuable and important in our understanding. But as we move toward whole systems health and healing, we're moving beyond the boundaries of how we've seen ourselves and clients into the whole, of literally being that. It's the same thing as that sending, receiving simultaneously that goes, it's just who we are. So it's essential that we move toward whole systems health and healing. It's essential that we evolve ourselves with the evolution of consciousness, that we're taking a leap at that same time. And that it's essential that we empower our clients to establish wholeness in the same way that we talk about that full embodiment of the consciousness, the full embodiment of these higher vibrational frequencies. It's no more we go into meditation and we call in, and then we sit in meditation and we become disembodied, and we go, this is literally a whole system on a cellular level, and that every cell in my body will vibrate with pure water. So I'll get more into all of that as we move forward, but I just want to really say that this is an essential part of a shift that's occurring on our planet, and we're called to really step forward, to be this conduit on the planet right now. So we're also moving, I got to bring the spirit and the soul back in as well when we're talking about healing, because we are whole beings, that we're also moving beyond the self-realization, self-actualization, and awakening. It's like, yeah, we can look around and say, oh, wow, okay, we still need some awakening work. A lot of people are doing that, but it's just creating separation for us. It's creating more separation consciousness. So we're moving beyond that idea that we're moving towards self-realization, self-actualization, and awakening, enlightenment, and we're moving beyond that now, beyond that illusion of separation into the beingness and becoming. So we're being and becoming whole, and we're being and becoming more light. We're being and becoming those higher frequencies. So it's a difficult one because we think developmentally, and we move and operate in our separate self in very developmental ways. So we see, okay, we're going on this journey, and here's the evolution of consciousness, and here we are, and we're moving toward this state of enlightenment. And it's time to kind of move that aside. It's time to stop saying, and the veil is thinning. It's like, no, the veil is thin. Now do we want to really come into the fullness of what this really means for all of us? And then, like I mentioned, we're going to look at health differently. We're going to look at healing differently. And we're going to look at, let me just say something about this, and then I'm going to pause for a minute. And we're looking at, as we look at health and healing differently, most of us know here that healing can happen like this right now. Healing can happen like this. And so as we leave behind the illusion of separation and the consciousness of separation, which almost every modality was born in on the planet, as every system and structure, we were a species that understood ourselves from a consciousness of separation, separate from a God source, the divinity, separate from the earth and all of nature, separate from one another. And that consciousness of separation is how we created the world we live in. It's how we created all of our systems and structures: education, healthcare, governance, politics, our infrastructures. It's how we even created the holistic health and the new age technologies that we're seeing. We created holistic health, we created new age from the place of separation consciousness, breaking through it with those few people on the planet that had the consciousness. And now all of that is disintegrating. All of that is going away as we come into this new consciousness. So healing and health will look different. And like right now, anybody have the experience of when you pick up a book and you don't even have to read every word and every page to get the whole book? Does anybody have that right now? Yeah, a few of you. Has anybody noticed how you don't want to read a long book and you can look at an image, or everything is really fast and moving? So when we're thinking about healing and our health, we're co-creating as we go, but literally our innate capacities are coming on. We are literally evolving and co-creating all the new systems and structures as we go, step by step by step. So it's an exciting time, and we get to co-create this. So one of the most important things, I just want to say two more things, and then I'm just going to open this up for a few questions, and then I'll move on if we're all good on the same page here. Two more things. One is that it's essential that we nurture ourselves and our clients' capacity to live for the good of the whole. Fundamental moving forward, that we ourselves really understand what it means to live for the good of the whole. And we begin to help our clients and those around us understand the innate capacity to live for the good of the whole. And that's a big one. And if you're just brand new to that phrase, good of the whole, and what have you, we'll let that soak in, and we can bring that up in the next 3 weeks as well. But we have an innate capacity to live for the good of the whole. And so understanding that the health of the water is the health of me, understanding that the health of my neighbor is my health, that capacity shifts how we live. So that's why it's going to change what healing and health looks like, because our choices are going to be different. Our consciousness is going to match the wholeness of who we be. So, like I mentioned before, we don't heal. We don't heal anyone. We create the conditions for the healing to come forward. And so that last little piece that I want to say is that our healing now, moving forward, is to experience wholeness, to create the conditions that we can viscerally experience that frequency of wholeness, feel that resonance, feel that, at Good of the Whole, we call it the home frequency. It's like coming home and going, oh yeah, I feel that. So that's the why of this course. When I was talking with another fellow healer, it was like, we're not learning these things in our continuing education units. We're not learning these things. Kate's a former nurse. She knows that old medical model too. We're not learning these things when we're going, we're still on that learning curve. So this is why that we're bringing this forward now. And I said a lot, so I just want to pause and see if there's any questions or comments, ahas, anything that is moving in the field right now before we move to some of the what.
There are 2 words coming to me: telepathy and simultaneity. It's like in that place, you know, to really conceptualize, to really embody the understanding that there is no separation. It's like it's so profound, it's so huge, it's so vast, but that's what we are. If we were to spin off all of our skin and bones and muscles, we would see who we really are, and there's no separation. It's all, it's whole. So, and the telepathy part, that just kept coming, as if we were going to be able to communicate without having to say anything. It would be so instantaneous.
Thanks, Linda.
I was feeling happy to be here. And it's like we are in the right place, right time together. That is what I'm present to. Working with the medical community for years, with the Center for Drug Reviewing New Drug Applications, and teaching physiology and biochemistry. So it's like the whole thing is like, yes, the new educational system that can speak to the time and then it would be applicable to this present moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Nahid. Anyone else feel to jump in? Where Michelle and I are, it's getting dark, and Linda, you're ahead of us. It's starting to get dark. You had to turn on your light. It's nice. Anyone else feel to jump in before we move forward? Okay. Over the next 3 weeks, we'll get into a lot more of the how-tos. I don't know if we'll get to it tonight because we just have a few more minutes left. But I just want to come back to the what to really bring this home before we part this evening. And I just want to spend a minute talking about the unified field. And you heard me say that we don't create the field. The field is always here. The field is here. We're tuning to this field. And some call it, if you're new to this language of the unified field, and the title of this 4-week series is The Healing Field. And you sometimes hear the unified field of consciousness. You might hear the 0-point field in science, the quantum field in science. Sometimes we hear in more spiritual terms. So we might hear source consciousness, earth consciousness, cosmic consciousness, Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, the designing intelligence of the universe. Some call it God, Creator, Holy Spirit. So there's so many different ways that people are beginning to try to describe whatever this is, that nobody really has nobody has a consensus on what is consciousness, and nobody has a consensus on what is the field, but we're working on it. And science has now converged with the ancient spiritual traditions and wisdom. So we understand that we're talking about the same thing, whether we're talking about the web of life from the Native Americans, or whether the Christian church is talking about the Holy Spirit, or there's just a lot of different ways that people are talking, and we're starting to put the pieces together and go, oh, so there's really no right or wrong way to understand this. The important part is, and the easiest way to begin to play in the field and play with the field is 2 things. One, connecting in with the heart seems to be a doorway. So that's an easy way to begin to teach clients. We have some heart math people here that understand this heart-brain coherence, and that literally heart-brain coherence creates an attunement with the field, and heart-brain coherence is greater creativity. There's all kinds of science, from the physical part of relaxation and blood pressure and all those things, to really tapping into our genius, the innate genius inside of us. So the heart is an important player here. And then another easy first step to really understanding the field is coming into the idea of the divinity within us. And that might sound really weird now, because a lot of times we go to the field and where everybody's still in the consciousness of separation, and we want to go, oh wait, no, I'm attuning to something out here. I'm trying to tap into something, or I'm creating something outside of myself. And it's a real simple shift to come into the divinity of who we are. As soon as we come in and claim our divinity, we shift into our essential self. We shift into that sacred self, not the personality, ego, separate self person that's running around on the planet, creating, having gifts and talents and abilities and relationships. But when we tap into that inward divinity, we have another access. And some people would say, wow, the inward divinity, the divinity within, and the heart are the same gateway. So something to think about, something to play with, and something to attune to is like, what is that when I come into my heart space and connect? And we're going to use connections a lot, connection, because there's no other way to talk about that simultaneity that Linda brought up. It's really difficult to say connect with something when we're already always connected, interconnected, interrelated, but we don't have the language yet. So connecting with our heart, connecting with the divinity, and stabilizing our essential self, that sacred self, that all-knowing, infinite part of who we be, in form. So think about the in-form piece. And our relationship with the field, my favorite person of all time, Jude Currivan, says this is the unified field of consciousness. And that, so here, get this, and that we don't have consciousness. We are consciousness. So if we have this thing called the unified field of consciousness, and we don't have consciousness, but we are consciousness, we are the field. We are the unified field of consciousness. And with that, we can stabilize this essential self, this way of being, and understand that we are being informed, and we're informing that field all the time with that same simultaneity that we did in our opening attunement and that Linda talked about, that simultaneity, that this is, if you think about informing the field and being informed by the field, think about it, I'm being informed by the designing intelligence of the universe. I'm being informed by the designing intelligence of the universe. I'm being informed by the designing intelligence that beats my heart and breathes my lungs and heals my bones. At the same time, I'm informing the designing intelligence of the universe as I'm co-creating life. I'm constantly in motion, informing the field. And this is an important differentiation from a lot of new age technology of visualizing and manifesting. And yes, we practiced and played with that as a species for a while. This is really that dance, that intimate relationship of simultaneity that Linda brought up. So with that, there's so much more we can talk about, but we're going to save that for next week. We're going to come back in and just kind of share any last thoughts you might have. We have about 6 minutes, and I just want to bring you in any reflections, any questions, any comments. Come back in.
Thank you so much. Goodness, Jeesh, Plinkett. I thank you from my heart. Literally, I just want to laugh the whole time we were doing that. I just wanted to laugh the whole time. I still feel like a laughter within, and it just feels so pure and happy. And so, thank you. And I'm looking forward to the next session.
It's Diane, and I have a question about whether you think this is inevitable that's going to happen if no matter what we do, or whether what we do is necessary in order to move us in this direction?
That is a really good question. And it's both. So if we go back to that simultaneity, this is happening through us. So think of it like this. The impulse of evolution is moving through everything right now on the planet. It's moving through everything. And the impulse of evolution that's evolving us in consciousness is also evolving the plants and the animals. And Mama Gaia is right here with us. So as the impulse of evolution moves through us, it's inevitable. We're going here, we're waking, we're understanding, we're moving into it. And because the impulse of evolution is moving through all of us, and we are one being, right? And then think about that attunement where the vibrational frequency, what we know about physics and the new science is that the things attune to the highest level of frequency, or they dissolve. What's happening is as we begin to awaken and continue to awaken, it's not a one random thing that happens and then you're woke. Like the New Age movement was like, okay, you're going to get there, and then boom, oh, you've got it. And people are teaching awakening, and this is how it's this ever evolving process within us. So is it inevitable that we are going to get that? We've already passed through a lot of the most difficult times of our evolution on this planet as a species, and we're still evolving. But because that impulse of evolution is in all things, it does feel like the dense energies are taking forever. And we watch things on the news and we're like, oh, brother, oh my God, I can't believe, what the heck? We're feeling it. And we're all like, and I do it too. I get caught and I go, oh, wait, okay, turn off the news. But I get on there and I'm like, this just drives me crazy. But to answer the second part of the question, or do we have to, it's not like we have to do anything, because the field and that impulse of evolution is doing everything through us, as us, with us, co-creating. So when we come to that level of consciousness, when we are aware that we are one with the water, and that pure water and the health of that water is my health, then we can't help but start being a water steward to take care of the water, or an earth steward to take care of the earth, or food to take care of food. So as we all begin to attune and wake, and everybody's doing it in their own time, in their own way, because we're not really separate, that we do have a responsibility to align with that code. And we're going to talk about that in another session too, is I'm going to bring some beautiful resources for you to go, oh yes, we all can pick this up and go, this is health, this is human health, and this is planetary collective health as well. So once we're there, we begin to attune to the codes that keep us in this new way of being. So I don't know, that's my opinion. It's how I see things. And of course, there's 1,001 ways to look at it, and others choose to look at it differently sometimes, and that's okay too. But that answer your question, Diane? Take a sip. Anybody else? We have just a couple more minutes here. Okay, so thank you all.
Ken was
Before
going
we
to
leave,
Yeah.
I just want to say I was glad I stepped in and joined
Thank
on
you,
this
Ken.
call. I mean, like I said, it's very refreshing.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your feedback. we are going to bring you lots of tools and tips and resources over the next 3 weeks. Continue to build on this idea of the field and holding the field and understanding the healing field, as well as how that affects us looking at wholeness and those really important essential pieces that I brought in. So hopefully you'll have a few more tools to add to your toolbox, or perhaps just some polish on how you be in the world. Like if we're polishing stones, you get to be a little more whole and a little more shiny and a little more sparkly and a little more attuned to those higher frequencies. So with that, unmute yourself and let's just say goodbye to one another. It was so good to see you all. Thank you for being here. Share this out with others and they can come. I'll have a recording of this so I can share this as well if anybody wants that recording.
Thank you.
This is our new thing. We touch on the side of our little squares and then all our hands are touching. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. And remember, there's lots more offerings tomorrow night. Nahid and Ken will do the Rumi connection. That will be lovely.
Rumi's Field.
Rumi's Field.
Linda's on every night.
Linda's on in just a little bit at the top of the hour. Linda's doing a Japa Mala meditation on Facebook Live on the Good of the Whole page. Tomorrow morning, there's a morning meditation. And then, let's see, Friday, there's a sound healing in the evening by Henry Lepler. And then on Saturday, there's 24/7 couples. If you're in a committed relationship, been for a long time, and you spend a lot of time together, it's literally evolving relationships in turbulent times. So all of this is on our weekly digest. So if you go to the Good of the Whole page, goodofthewhole.org, and you sign up for that weekly digest, you're going to get all the offerings and how to get there and connect. So thank you all for
Thank you, Julie.
showing up. And then there's more next week too. So we'll see you next week.
Yummy, yum, yum.
Okay, bye for now.
For now.